Well, it's upon us, the Democratic primary. In just about an hour, the results are going to start pouring in. We'll talk about that and what you can do in your home, in your neighborhood, in your community. Oh, Randall, I'm tired of you telling me what to do. Okay, fine. I will tell you. I'll suggest it.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
We get the type of government we deserve. I've heard that expression. I don't fully believe it because I don't believe that I deserved Barack Obama. I don't believe that the babies deserved Barack Obama. But we got him. So now who's going to replace him? Well, tonight, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, they're having their own primary up there in New Hampshire, and Bernie is going to win. I don't know by what margin, but we're going to find out shortly. When this show is over, the polls will close shortly after that, and the numbers are going to start pouring in. Trump, I believe, is going to win as well on the Republican side. I don't see any way that Rubio or Cruz could close the gap that they have. For Bernie Sanders, a victory gives him massive momentum, massive press coverage, and it's going to help him raise a significant amount of money, okay? Because this is about money, not just about message. It's about money. On the Republican side, if Rubio finishes strongly, as some expect him to do, it could keep him on the campaign trail. There's going to be people dropping out after tonight. Who will drop out? I don't know. Maybe they'll try and stick it out to South Carolina, maybe. But I don't think Kasich is going to leave. I don't think he's going to leave the race yet. It's possible that Christie would if he did not do well here. We'll see. We'll see. But half of the people watching this television show, if the numbers are correct, people who call themselves Christian, half of the Christians in the country are not registered to vote. Doesn't that strike you as being disturbing? And of the half that are registered to vote, half of them won't go to the election. They won't vote. And that, by the way, those numbers are for the general election, which will happen in November of 2016. The numbers for primaries are a fraction of that. So I'm again begging you to do your civic duty, as they say. Register to vote and vote. Vote in the primary. If you don't like Donald Trump, then go vote for someone else. If you don't like blank, fill in the blank. Vote for someone else. And by the way, forgive me, there was a presumption in my statement that if you are a Christian, that you would vote for one of the Republican candidates. Please hear me, all right? I'll make this quick. Hillary and Bernie Sanders both support killing of babies. Bernie Sanders boasts that he has a 100% voting record for anything regarding killing babies. 100% in favor of abortion. Those words they'll haunt him in eternity, okay? So my presumption is that your ethical compass, your moral compass, is straight enough, fixed enough, proper enough, that you're not going to vote for someone who's a baby killer. If you're a registered Democrat, sit it out. If you live in a crossover state, cross over. Participate on the Republican side. Although I did hear about people, did you hear this, Billy Bob? There's people that are voting for Bernie in New Hampshire because it's a crossover state. They're registered as an independent or non-committed. They can walk in and say, I'm a Democrat tonight. Then they can walk out and unregister as a Democrat. And there's people that are thinking, I'm going to go in, say I'm a Democrat, so I can vote for Bernie Sanders so that I can hurt Hillary. Just to hurt Hillary. Because the better that Bernie Sanders does, the more spotlight he's going to get, the more airtime he's going to get, the more money he's going to get, and the better chance he has of actually beating her in the primary. And right now, his numbers are really good. The Clintons are in a world of hurt because Bernie Sanders is in a statistical dead heat with her nationally. All right? I'm not talking state by state by state. In New Hampshire, he's going to win. He's going to win big. But nationally, he is tied with her right now. He has overcome a 30-point deficit. Those numbers are, first of all, shocking, but they have to have the Clintons shaking in their boots because the momentum is going all the wrong way. Anyway, I've got to take a break. We'll talk about some stuff that we can do as families. Don't go away. How would you like your name or the name of somebody that you love to be listed as a producer of our upcoming series, What Would Mohammed Do? If you are in a position to give a $1,000 gift, we have to buy some computer gear and some 4K monitors that cost about $12,000. One computer and 2 monitors, $12,000, because they're broadcast quality. This is not a Hewlett-Packard laptop, okay? If you can be one of those 12 people who give $1,000 or more, we will list you as a producer in the series, What Would Mohammed Do? Or if you want to do it in memory of a loved one, we will do that as well. Please, go to the GoFundMe site you see, watch the pilot, and if you say, I want to be a part of that, give a $1,000 gift, and we will put you or the person you choose as a producer of this TV series. I thank you in advance. God bless you. As parents, we have the duty, the joy, the privilege, the burden, and as grandparents, of molding young people, the young people around us, our own children, clearly our own grandchildren, and to a lesser degree, other people's kids. And we do it by showing them what matters. Now, we show them what matters whether we want to or not, okay? In other words, if I get really worked up about something, then it starts to hardwire my children to be worked up about that too. If I don't care so much about a thing, then I teach them that maybe that's not all that important. So, on a family level, on a family level, you can talk about what's in the news with your children and your grandchildren. Domestic politics and international politics. I mean, really and truly, if we do that as parents and as grandparents, then we will raise children that are attuned to what's going on. And they will understand, oh, look, this is important. When our sons walk by the TV, and I've recorded a debate. I recorded the one that happened over the weekend with on ABC. And we came home after church and we hit the play button. I hit the play button. I was by myself because I had to watch it to prep for the shows. And my boys came through and boom, they were just instantly fixated on it, literally talking to the TV, discussing Rubio, discussing Trump. They're following it. They're engaged. And my hope as a dad, all right, is that they will be engaged for their whole life. That they get it. That this is what is important right now. Right now, there's an election that is in progress that is going to shape this country for perhaps an entire generation. One of the reasons that I am hopeful that Cruz gets elected is that I think of all of the candidates, he has the largest understanding about the danger of the judiciary, and that he would, in fact, have a litmus test. Now, in prior elections, there has been the question over and over, would you have a litmus test for Supreme Court nominees? And for some reason, in this election cycle, it has barely happened. Maybe the secular press is holding their fire, keeping their powder dry for the general, when they think that it'll help if Trump or Cruz gets the nomination, and they say, I will only appoint judges to the Supreme Court who will promise to overturn Roe. One of the biggest disappointments in my political activism has been the number of presidential candidates on the Republican side who say that they're pro-life and yet won't commit to have a litmus test for federal judge picks. In other words, if a man was running or was threw his hat in the ring to be a judge and he said, I would support removing the 14th Amendment from the Constitution and have reinstitute chattel slavery so that we could have slaves. I believe, obviously this is completely fictitious, no one could get very far in their career if they believed that, but if that wasn't an immediate disqualifier, then what's wrong with the president for even considering picking someone like that? So clearly there are litmus tests. Even if they're unspoken, there are litmus tests. If you say you hate Jews, if you're an anti-Semite, then you're not fit to be in the judiciary. If you say you hate black people and we should reinstitute slavery, you're not fit to be in the judiciary. All right? And if you say that you support a woman's right to choose, or you say that you support having marriage between two people of the same gender, then you're not fit to serve in the judiciary. Your moral compass is warped, perverted, broken, whatever word you want to use. So I hope that as we approach this election, that those questions are asked. Do you have a litmus test for federal judges? And I hope the answer is yes. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas referred to John Locke twice in his dissent in the Obergefell decision. John Locke is referred to as the philosopher of American liberty. He was a genius, and he not only believed in natural law, but he believed in revealed law, the Word of God, the law of God. And he is one of the two most influential philosophers on the founders of this republic. We are offering you this book, and I'm going to give you my book as well, The Sword. The Sword, the subtitle is The Blessing of Righteous Government and the Overthrow of Tyrants. It looks at what is the legitimate purpose of government and when is it our right to overthrow government like they did with the Declaration of Independence. We will send you these two books if you simply pay for the shipping and handling, $8, and then give whatever else you want. And by the way, the $8 doesn't cover our cost, but if that's all you can afford, we'll send them to you for the $8. God bless you. In just a little while, the results from New Hampshire are going to be pouring in. How bad will Hillary lose? How much will Trump win by? Who on the Republican side has a farewell speech? There's going to be a lot of news this week regarding New Hampshire. One of the reasons that the presidency has become so important, we know that Obama is off the rails as far as using executive orders for almost to run as if he was a dictator, to quote him. But one of the reasons that it's so critical, the presidency, is because the president nominates the people who will sit on the Supreme Court of the United States. The president actually nominates all people to the federal judiciary. All right, so quick civics lesson. In our system of government, we have 50 states, 50 state governments, and then a federal government. Inside of our state governments, we have state judges. All right, they go by different names, but you can have the Supreme Court of the state of Massachusetts, for example, who ordered the legislature to create homosexual marriage, so-called. And Mitt Romney and the legislature in Massachusetts bowed down, scraped and groveled and said, yes, Massa, yes, we'll do what you say. They should have said, go to the hot place. You're not going to tell us what to do. We're not doing it. And they should have begun the process of impeaching the judges. because the judges violated their oath of office. They had an oath to uphold the laws of the state of Massachusetts, the laws of the government, the laws of the Constitution of the United States. They violated their oath of office. That's why Romney was not qualified to be president. It's one of the key reasons why. So the reason the president is so critical is because, just think with me for 1 minute about the impact of the judiciary on our lives. Did the people of this country vote to have child killing? Nope. It was rammed down our throat. 7-2 vote in Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bolton. 7 people elevating themselves above the laws of God, pretenders to the throne of God. 7 people on the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that a woman had a constitutional right to privacy, which included the right to determine her own future regarding a baby. She could kill her baby. 7 people. Those 7 people got on the bench because presidents picked them. They're not elected officials. Then they have a lifetime appointment. All right? A lifetime appointment. So who we have as a president is really, really critical. And the failures of our presidents in this regard are astonishing. Astonishing. I'm a big fan of Ronald Reagan. I believe that Sandra Day O'Connor, lied to Reagan and his staff. Okay? He wanted to pick the first woman, and they specifically asked her about child killing. And she said that she would not disappoint or embarrass the president. Well, she voted to uphold Roe when the time came. President Reagan was no longer in office, but she voted to uphold Roe. And President Reagan wanted to overturn Roe versus Wade. President Bush the elder gave us Souter, David Souter, or Souter, depending on how you want to pronounce his name. He's no longer on the court. But he also voted to uphold Roe versus Wade. John Sununu, former chief of staff, told the conservatives, oh, Souter's conservative, he's going to be a great pick. Baloney. They didn't vet the candidate right. So here we are living with the judges that are currently on the Supreme Court, who were appointed, some by Republicans, some by Democrats, but who are just literally unleashing hell on us. And it's not just these current judges. It's been this way for almost as long as I've been alive. Forced busing, which helped destroy some neighborhoods and some communities. Forced busing was an edict from on high, from unelected officials on the Supreme Court. The flood of pornography, an edict from on high, from unelected officials, the Supreme Court, who said that it's covered by the First Amendment, free speech. Child killing, from an edict from on high. So-called homosexual marriage, the Obergefell decision. Almost every state in the Union had laws saying marriage is between a man and a woman. The people of this country, voting as they did through their elected officials or in referendums, said no. Marriage is between a man and a woman. And the federal Supreme Court of the United States of America, 5 members in a bloodless coup, a putsch, as Justice Scalia called it. A bloodless coup literally took over the reins of the federal government. They trashed the Constitution and the laws of this nation. And all of these judges who helped them, as this went further and further through the courts over the last few years, these federal judges who struck down the laws of the states over and over, who sadly took a lifestyle that is perverse, that is tragic, that is a type of self-abuse, that puts young women, young men and young women's lives at risk. They elevated that sin, that mortal sin, if you believe in old world theology, Catholic, Orthodox theology, even Anglican theology. They took that sin and elevated it to the point, or to equality with marriage as God created it. All of this from federal judiciary. So the presidency is critical, not just because he's the chief executive of our government, but because he gets to pick the federal judges. And I'll tell you one thing, man, if I was the president of the United States, I would have a staff that properly did the research on any potential federal judge. Any potential federal judge. I'll be back. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're going to run it. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. Well, in just a little over half an hour, the poll results are going to start to pour in from New Hampshire. How bad will Hillary lose? By how much will Trump win? We're going to see. Donald Trump has done a great service to this country, just in this primary season, because he has given voice to the anger that is in the electorate on the conservative side by saying we have incompetent people running our government, by saying that we're getting tattooed in trade deals, by saying that there's a problem with Muslims. We've got to figure out what it is. Just to have him say those words out loud has been invaluable to us, because he broke the PC mold, the politically correct mold, and he showed that if someone will do that, if they'll say that there's lawbreakers, rapists coming over the border, we've lost control of our border, we need to build a wall. If he can say that and a whole bunch of people say he's right, it shows where it shows the level of the angst and the anger, and it's been like uncorking a big can of whoop butt. Excuse my language, but it's been like taking the lid off of this cauldron of rage. And there are things worth being angry about. So you've heard me talk a lot about Donald Trump on this show, and I'm nervous about him. I want you to know I'm nervous about him. I don't know what he'll do regarding babies. I don't know what he'll do regarding marriage. I don't know what he'll do if he's president with his bully pulpit. I don't know how properly he will vet judges. I don't know. I know one thing. He is a smart man. Do not underestimate this man. Do not underestimate Donald Trump. He got to where he is at because he is smart. All right? And if you watch his children, if you see how articulate they are in this massive company, these companies that they're running, these are smart people. And the fact that he uses speech when he talks, this is going to be great, we're going to do great again, it's going to be terrific. The fact that he uses these phrases that seem so down here in his syntax, it's on purpose. It's on purpose. All right? There's a level of genius there that is astounding. Ted Cruz, clearly a better debater, clearly a better thinker, a better speaker. But there's something that's visceral about Trump that has ignited people, and we owe him a debt of thanks to that. Now we got to hope that either his compass is right, or if it's not, that somebody else wins the White House. We'll talk to you tomorrow.